What's up, guys? Welcome to my tarot channel, Tarot by the Intuitive Teacup. That's me. My name's Annie. Welcome to this All Signs Tarot reading. Please come into the readings with an open heart and an open mind. Take away only what resonates for you and release the rest. Check below for timestamps so you can hop directly to your reading. And do remember to check out the reading for your sun, moon, rising, and Venus signs. All right, let's do it. All right, Aries, what's up? Aries, sun, moon, rising, and Venus signs. What energy is coming in to Aries in the next week or so? What are some messages or narratives, storylines that want to come through for Aries? All right, so someone expressing their emotions, being more open, being a little bit more vulnerable. Possibly a Scorpio. Ooh, you lucked out. Did you find a Scorpio who's being vulnerable with you? Now, let's see. There could be some sort of major transformation happening in the life of a child or in reverse in the life of a parent. This almost feels like a significant chapter in your child's life. If you don't have children, it could go in the reverse, a significant chapter in your parent's life where things are changing, things are undergoing transformation. There could be some sort of ending, but it feels like, I don't know, with the Page of Cups, it's not coming from a place of not anger or bitterness or resentment. I think there might be a releasing or a sharing of emotions. I don't know if it's an outpouring. There might be a few little tears, right? Sort of, I wouldn't say bittersweet. That's not the right word. But with the Page of Cups, there's an emotional truth being shared, and maybe it is in conjunction or bringing about some sort of ending or putting more space and distance in between a relationship that felt very significant. Again, parent-child stuff is coming through, but I will say sometimes this card comes out when it's indicating two people who are, if this is romantic for you, Aries, possibly two people that aren't necessarily the perfect match, the perfect combination, because maybe someone here, and bear with me, I don't mean to offend anyone or anything, maybe someone here is a little bit more childlike, maybe someone here is almost taking on the role of a parent in a relationship, being a caretaker to their romantic partner, in which case there might be sort of some, like a heavy-heartedness that like there's a reason why there's some space and distance here, and I think you guys are both honoring it and acknowledging it. I'm not saying you haven't had fights or quarrels or arguments, but there does seem to be an acceptance. That's a really good word here with the Page of Cups. An acceptance of this is what it is and this is where we're both currently at. And if we're not willing to change and meet the other person's needs and expectations and be really honest with ourselves about what we need in a relationship, it does feel like maybe something is coming to some sort of ending. Others of you, if this does have to do with a child, it may have to do with, a child going off to college or, a significant chapter in your child's life. Maybe they're moving away to pursue their dreams, their hobbies, their goals, right? Knight of Wands. Yeah, so I think this is in the pursuit of something bigger. There's a Jupiter energy, so there is an element here of expansion coming through for you guys. What is this Knight of Wands going after? What is he chasing? Possibly new love. I do think some of you may have fallen victim to being in rescuer mode, like rescuer syndrome of a relationship is like going all out to try and salvage something here. I'm not saying it isn't healthy to want to try and fix something, but again, it has to be a two-way street. You have to be able to meet in the middle, and both people in this want to, have the same goal and results. I'm wondering if maybe it was a little bit imbalanced. And if that's the case, you both seem to be pursuing other options at this time, or at least thinking about it. Page of Cups can sometimes represent an apology of sorts, again, someone kind of bearing their soul or their emotions. But even with that, there's something a little bit more childlike here. So this could even be a cross-watcher reading too, I always say with the Page of Cups, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole here, but with the Page of Cups, sometimes if it's brand new, it represents a date. Someone asking you out, hey, you're cute, you're fun, let's flirt a little bit, cool. If that's all you're desiring from it, that's great. But if this is someone that you've been with for a while and they're not showing up as a king or a queen, they're showing up as a Page of Cups. It's like they're trying, but they're not meeting your needs or expectations because, again, it's metaphorically childlike energy. So you might be expecting too much from this person. And it's not saying that what you're wanting is wrong and that you shouldn't be desiring that. It's that you're asking for it from the wrong person, from the wrong source, from the wrong vessel, or however you want to say it. this is like a ridiculous thing I have, but whenever I see the Page of Cups, again, this is not in regards to student child energy, right? This is like if you're dealing with like probably a masculine, but maybe a feminine, whatever, and they're showing up as the Page of Cups, it's almost like they're extending some sort of gesture to you, but like it's a fish in a cup. It's kind of like, what do you want me to do with this? Like, how cute that you're like trying, but also I'm extremely underwhelmed right now. You know what I mean? I mean, it's cute when it's a child, right? This is your child coming home and, showing you some sort of art project of them, sticking their hands in the dirt and putting it on a piece of white paper and being like, look, I made this for you. And you're like, that is incredible, Tommy. Thank you so much. You're such a, you're an artist, whatever. It's cute when it's a child, but when it's a full grown man or woman or adult or whatever, it's kind of like, what do you want me to do with this? What do you want me to do with this? Do you guys know the SNL skit with, I think it's Andy Samberg and Justin Timberlake? It's my something in a box. That's sort of how I view the Page of Cups. It's like, they're really excited to show you this thing, and you're just kind of like, yeah, no, it's missing the mark. It's like, it's my fish in a cup. It's my fish in a cup, baby. All right. Moving on. All right. And with that, the mere fact that I'm mentioning that, which I know is ridiculous, you might be dealing with someone who is more interested in the sex than anything else, but they weren't necessarily looking for, long-term building of a committed relationship, especially with the Knight of Wands, he or she, whoever likes to wander, it's kind of like the Casanova of the zodiac, but it's not necessarily, it doesn't always have staying power. It's mutable, it's bendable, it's flexible, but there's not always consistency with the Knight of Wands here. So you do seem to be conflicted about this ending, but there could be fights, there could be drama, there could be quarrel, there could be a lot of people inserting their opinions and ideas on what this should be. But I don't know. I think for some of you, it's like there's no going back. You kind of see this person's true colors, and it's not to say, again, that there's tons of bad blood. I think there's disappointment. I do think there's a releasing of tears for some of you, acknowledging that this may have happened for, a reason or a season or a lifetime, right? I think for a lot of you, it was like a season. It was something that came into your life, with reason, with a purpose, but it didn't necessarily mean that it was meant to last forever. I think you're walking away with some sort of newfound empowerment. And I will say for you, Aries, more clarity on what you want in your future. Yeah, because look at that. Look at that. I think for a lot of you, that's what you're desiring, not this, it's my fish in a cup. All right, anyway, moving on. Scorpio Sagittarius energy is coming through very strongly. Possibly something new with an air sign for those who are looking to connect, a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Anything else we're allowed to know about this? Or even a Leo. I get Leo vibes from that too. Yeah, you seem to be on the fence though. I'm not sure all of you are totally ready to be in a new relationship. I think you're warming up to the idea that you have to sort of release and let go and allow things to exit your life and go through the healing process, right? With the Death card, it's this major transformation has come through. So be compassionate with yourself. Don't just jump into something else to rebound. Like aim higher, wait for the right opportunity. All right, thanks, Aries. All right, what's up, Taurus? Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Let's see what's going on for Taurus. What narrative or storyline is coming through in the tarot this week? Possibly something with an Aquarius, healing a relationship. You got Aquarius and Gemini so far. And then a little bit of contemplation. I don't know, I kind of sometimes hear the word numb, N-U-M-B with that. I don't know, feeling confused about a relationship and maybe where you stand with someone. The Star card can sometimes indicate like a time for rest, a time for separation, a time for healing, getting your life back on track, keeping one foot in the pool of intuition and feeling and the other firmly like on land, on ground. And with that, there's a need to feed both. We can't be in hermit mode and completely isolate, but at the same time, we may have to limit our social interactions because we might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed. For Taurus rising, you do have Mars going through your 12th house, so maybe there's a lot of action and energy that is feeling very overwhelmed, or overwhelming, or a lot of action and energy being put into sort of your private life, things hidden away, finding more time for spirituality and rest and recuperation, because maybe there's been a relationship in your life that has been putting you through the ringer. Now, granted, it is showing up in the Lovers card, but sometimes it's just like, it doesn't have to be romantic every time. It certainly could be, but I think you're doing a lot of time thinking things through about this relationship. So what is going on with this person or this connection in Taurus's life? Why is it bringing them confusion? So sometimes this can be a card of ego, or it's someone who attracts a lot of attention. Maybe this person is having some sort of career high and you're not, and you're feeling left out or feeling left behind, and I don't necessarily think jealousy is the right word, but feeling like, why is this person getting all the wins and I'm kind of stuck in this thing and not feeling. So, that might be a temporary feeling. I wouldn't invest in that truth, because that's not true. It's, you might be being hard on yourself or critical of yourself. You don't need to do that. But maybe you're dealing with someone who is a little bit egotistical or cocky or putting on a show. This idea of they attract a lot of attention, and I think, you probably think you're desiring them. You think they're beautiful, or maybe you appreciate them and respect them and look up to them, but you feel like they're lacking sort of the emotional integrity that you're looking for in this relationship, or it feels like you're being pushed to the sidelines, or at least that's your interpretation of it. So what are we contemplating here as Taurus is sitting under the tree thinking about how things are going to unfold? Yeah, I do think this person, whether they meant to or not, did make you sort of reconsider who and what you want in partnerships and relationships, even in family dynamics or siblings, because it seems like this does take a toll on your mental health sometimes, and even your self-worth. I think you feel underappreciated by this person. It almost has this energy of like, you do something to help support them and they take it for granted, and then they get the applause for everything that you do. For one or two of you, this could even be dealing with a child who I'm almost getting kind of like middle school, high school age, where they're just kind of moody and they're not showing appreciation. They're not showing that warmth or excitement to be around you that they used to. And yet, you're there helping them with their homework every night, cooking them dinner, making sure they have a nice place to come home to. Like it sort of has that I'm a homemaker vibe, or I'm doing a lot for other people, but they're not reciprocating or even energetically showing me, some sort of appreciation. It's not about tit for tat, but so yeah, I think you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed and maybe regretful or remorseful of giving a lot of your time and energy away. Now, obviously, if it's your children, it's not that's it, I'm pulling back my energy. But maybe there is a talk about gratitude and appreciation that's on the horizon. And I mean, I'm giving you this metaphor of a child, but maybe you're dealing with someone who's kind of childlike. That came through an Aries reading as well. Someone who maybe they're a little bit selfish at times, or they're a little bit self-focused. But yeah, I do think you're contemplating loyalty in your life. That's a very important word when the Nine of Pentacles comes through. And the thing is, it is about identifying with the work you do. It's a Virgo card, so it is a worker card. But at what point, are you overworking and overextending yourself and not feeling like it's necessarily worth it? I think that's questions to ask. And loyalty. I'm not sure why I'm wanting to say this, but with her little falcon, her bird here, it's like if you love something, set it free. And if it comes back, it's meant to be yours. When this card comes up, there's an established loyalty, right? She's not trying to keep the bird caged. She's not trying to, put a leash on it, or, metaphorically. But for you, it's almost like you were expecting this person to come back into your life naturally. And I think you started to realize that you were like working for it, like trying to convince them to come back, or double checking via text or whatever it is, like, hey, but almost like a, hey, remember me, liking their photos on Instagram or whatever. But really the truth of it, I think on days where you have clarity with the star, you're like, why am I doing this? Because it almost feels like you're abandoning yourself in the process. And I get it. You had feelings for this person. You have affection for this person. I think in a lot of ways you're rooting for them. You want them to succeed, but it's almost like, but remember who got you there. Like, I've been supporting you. While maybe this is your husband or your wife. It's like, while you went back to school to get that degree to, pursue your dream, your passion, like I was paying the bills. Like I was grinding. I was in work mode so that you could do that. And it feels like you're not feeling appreciated. So what about the star card? Why is that significant? Yeah, someone here, I don't know if it's wandering eyes, but it's just it's someone who it's just like they just want to play. There's something a little bit naive or immature about this energy. And I think at this point in your life, you're wanting more out of them. And so you guys know this already. Tarot isn't black and white. It's not going to say, yup, leave them, you're fine. It's just sort of indicating energies that are coming through this week. So I think you are dealing with someone who this is hard to say, but it's like you're not their primary responsibility, or you're not their primary focus right now. And this is even harder if it's someone you live with. So there's no sword energy here. And I think that's significant because what conversation needs to take place that isn't happening. And with this, there can be kind of like this emotionally stuck energy. So I am gonna ask you this, Taurus, and please don't be offended. I think it's necessary. Where are you participating in this, in that you are hoping that psychically this person knows what you need? Yes, it would be great if they just knew and they were intuitive like you and they showed up in the way you needed them to. But clearly they're not. So you're sort of at this crossroads with the Lovers of like, I can advocate for myself and say the thing and hope that they show up and, come correct and do things differently. But for a lot of you, it feels stale. It feels like you've been waiting for that for a long time. And I think some of you are already drawing the conclusion, like, they're not going to change. This is who they are. And so maybe you've outgrown that relationship. Maybe, you're better than that. Or for some of you too, I get it. You're like, the mere fact that I have to ask for their respect is a huge red flag. Okay, so you know that. So how are you going to move forward with the information? I think the Star card is saying this is a time of rest and healing and recuperation, but especially to do with value and self-worth. It feels like a huge recognition or an awakening about empty sources where you've been putting your energy and it's void. It's like you can't pour from an empty cup and you've been nothing but, taking care of the people around you. And it's like, it's time to feed that energy back to yourself. And maybe this does call for a break. But again, I would say, before you completely throw in the towel, because to be honest, I don't see that. I see you kind of struggling with this for a bit longer, but it doesn't have to be a struggle. I think it's seeking clarity. In time away, right? Soul searching mode. That's completely warranted here. But before you throw in the towel, where's the final communication? Where's the negotiation? Where's the, looking back to the quote unquote contract? It's like trying to fix this in a way where expression is coming through versus just being like, kind of pouting energy. And here's the thing, your person is probably doing that too. This person also, there's something very like demonstrating and peacocking about them. Like the public persona and how image looks is very important to this person. And so little do the people know, behind the curtain, there's actually trouble in paradise here. And I think you're wanting to fix it and do the work, but I'm sorry. I know you guys get slapped with this a lot, unjustly. There is a little bit of a stubborn energy here from you though, because it's like you've pulled back, but it's almost like you're giving the silent treatment. So this person, like, are they that dumb that they don't know what's going on? Probably not, but they're not going to do that thing of like, hey, is something wrong with you? They're not going to nurture that. So you're going to have to be very blunt and spell it out for them, unfortunately. This may involve a Virgo, a Gemini, an Aquarius, a Leo, a Cancer. There's a lot of signs coming through, but that's what I got for you this week. Thanks, Taurus. All right, what's up, Gemini? Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. What is coming through for Gemini this week? What narrative, storyline, people, places, things? What does Gemini need to be aware of? The Hierophant. All right, commitment, contracts, knowledge, education, teaching, something with a Taurus. Yeah, double down on the education and teaching, the speaking, the writing, the preaching. An important conversation involving a long-term commitment or contract. Let's see. Yeah, some of you may be asked to make some sort of speech or give a demonstration this week, or stepping out of a comfort zone to address a situation that has been a long time coming. It's like I'm almost getting like we need to address the elephant in the room. And I see you being very direct and very matter of fact, like this is this and this is that. And no more. It's like, I think it's been a long time coming. So I'm not saying don't address it. I'm not saying don't advocate for yourself. I'm saying watch your tone, because it may come off a lot more laced with sort of vengeance than I think you want it to. I think you've had to hold back on something. It's probably work related, though it could be in a marriage contract, right? But I see you kind of, what is that expression? Blowing your top or something about like, yeah, being, I don't know, it's laced with a little anger. And that makes sense, right? We have we have Mercury going through Aries. We have Mars going through Aries. So yeah, there's something about needing to express something, but it has a lot of, I'll say, passion behind it. But yeah, be careful because it may put you in a position where feelings get hurt or I'm not saying all of you will do this, but you may have overstepped your bounds and now it's putting you in a position, a week later where you're kind of like, oh shit, should I have done that? Like there's almost like a fearful thing on what you said. Now here's the thing. You can course correct this, especially if it hasn't happened yet. If this is resonating, like if there's been something that's been a long time coming, working up to it, I'm not saying don't advocate for yourself, but I think with the Magician, you may want to sort of write down your words first and kind of, gather your thoughts and ideas before you present this, essentially, because there's a need to be a little bit more tactful and diplomatic. You're still going to get your point across, but I think there might be a better way to do it without hurt feelings, or the backlash of being like, oh my God, now like I just ruined that relationship, or my boss is mad at me, or am I going to get fired for doing, it's that type of just careful of the repercussions, because there could be an unexpected twists or turns in the reception or the response. For some of you, I could also see this as, this is so random, but like giving a speech that really makes people think, that really hammers home some sort of it's like it really opens up people's mind. It has almost a spiritual aspect where people feel it very deeply. It's like you might be in a situation where you're talking and someone is just like really vibing with you. So on the off chance that you're dating a Pisces or a Taurus or going on a date with them, it's like, yeah, man, like I feel that. Like you're speaking to their soul in some ways. All right, so the world. Yeah, so something here is coming to maybe a boiling point or to a culmination. Some of you, if this is so random, if you have been sort of on the cusp of getting over an ex, it feels like this week there may be a new conversation or connection coming in where if you guys are really jiving and vibing, you may kind of feel like you've put something to rest once and for all that has been an ongoing struggle or challenge, but it may have to do with sort of like a releasing with the world and sort of, a rebirthing of yourself into the dating world, or again, if it's struggle with colleagues or coworkers, addressing the matter in a way where I think you have to be authentic and speak your truth, but with the moon you have to be very gentle. I think try and be a little bit more subtle than you would like. Again, like it's an interesting mix, because I see you being very direct, but again, I'm not going to reiterate, but like the whole like repercussions thing, just be aware of that. But yeah, okay, so for some of you, this might be talking about some sort of new connection where there's authentic expression of oneself, of you may bond over creativity or art projects or, Venus and Taurus stuff, right? It's Taurus season. So, and with that, for at least for my Gemini risings, there could be unexpected love. We have Jupiter, we have the sun, we have Venus traveling through your 12th house of what is hidden or what is not always seen. And for some of you, there could be love on the horizon for you. And it may have taken you a long time to be ready for some sort of new connection where you do feel safe to be yourself, to be vulnerable, to express yourself. Because for some of you, I'm almost getting the idea of like, you put your walls up so that you wouldn't get hurt again, because maybe you were involved with someone who kind of took you for a ride, someone who maybe burned you, or you felt tricked, or like confusion about a last relationship of like what happened. It just like disintegrated and I don't know. Some of you had to do a lot of work on yourself and recognize that, maybe you didn't do anything wrong. Maybe it just wasn't your person, even though, with the moon, there can be this illusion or this fantasy, this projection of, someday we'll get married and this and that. Maybe some of you had to come to the difficult, recognition that you outgrew that relationship, or it outgrew you. You quote unquote graduated from something where with Saturn energy, it was no easy feat. So good for you. Maybe this is practicing better self-love, but with that, it's going to be mirrored back to you. Anything else? Yeah, something about a Pisces is coming through. That's a very interesting combination, Gemini and Pisces. Let me know if you're dealing with one. Let's see, what else? Anything else we need to share? What is this Ace of Cups for Gemini? I just kind of got this vibe of like, well, clarify. What do you want to know? my spirit guide's talking to me. All right, what is this Ace of Cups for Gemini? It could be something with an Earth sign or an air sign here. Okay, or a Cancerian, the Chariot. This is welcoming people into your house and home as well. For some of you, I don't know why your house is undergoing transformation, or you're zhuzhing things up. You're painting the walls a fun color. You're building a studio. You're creating a meditation space. You're going up in the attic and purging stuff. Something about the house or the home is undergoing change or renovation. Maybe you're installing something new. I mean, I don't know. It could be as simple as like, changing your, I don't know, windows or curtains, whatever. I don't know why that's coming came through, especially curtains. That's really funny that came through. Some of you, you're going to welcome a new pet into your life, like a dog or a cat or something more unique. And also something about playing more games. I'm almost seeing something with like board games. So I don't know what this has to do with, guys. Maybe if you're dating, maybe you're going over to this person's house and you're, I don't know, freaking playing Monopoly, or you're bonding with their pet. Maybe they have cats, or, I don't know what this is exactly. But the Chariot can also be a local travel card, very close to Gemini's heart. It does have to do with Cancerian energy. But yeah, that does, for, again, Gemini risings, it has to do with your second house of what you value and your self-worth. I don't know, there could be a Cancer on your mind. There could be some Cancerian reaching out to you with some sort of romantic offer or flirting, or a chance to visit and commune with people who have a big heart, people who love to nurture you. I like that for you, Gemini. All right, guys, that's what I got for you this week. Please like, share, subscribe. I will see you next time. Hello, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Let's see what's coming in. Messages, a storyline, something we can make Cancer aware of. Messages for their best and highest good in the coming week or so. What's going on with my Cancer gang? Love my Cancer gang. All right, so possibly some sort of offer, a token of appreciation, feeling more appreciated, feeling more seen. Some sort of artistic endeavor. Moving forward with some sort of commitment. You seem to be a little bit on the fence or indecisive if you want to move forward with this person or this project long term. I'm just sort of getting you really looking at it for what it is. And it's funny, there's almost like a not necessarily sensing that this is the path you want to go down. And I'm not sure that's true for all of you, but there's something about really wanting to focus in on it and make a well-informed decision, not just jump at the first thing that comes at you. There could be some sort of offer from a Taurus, or something. It is Taurus season too, so maybe looking at your money differently, looking at money coming in and out. There could be a small pay bump or something about an influx of money coming in that helps a little bit, right, with page energy. This card to me always talks about your spirit guides wanting to speak to you, wanting to feel heard, asking you to kind of lean in and listen closely, because I don't know, you may feel kind of confused or indecisive or uninformed about how to proceed forward with some sort of contract or offering coming to you. And your spirit guides are around you, kind of encouraging you. I'm hearing encouraging your growth. So I think with Taurus energy, that's important. Is there going to be stability and growth over time? Is it reliable? Is it responsible? Is it committed? Is there some sort of established loyalty here? I think that's what you're being asked here. And in terms of how you want to grow and how you want to move forward with this business, with this entity, with these people. The Three of Pentacles is an excellent card of teamwork, and the team here is looking to establish the Four. So they're looking to establish stability. I always kind of relate it to the four corners of a house. Like we want to go up from here. So what is this indecisiveness? If it's not indecision, it could be that something lands in your lap unexpectedly, and so you're kind of like, is this too good to be true? Yeah, with Knight of Wands energy, there could be kind of something interesting or intriguing coming your way, and it definitely makes you curious to explore it and discover it. But again, with the Knight of Wands, does it have the staying power, the lasting power? And maybe not all of you are looking for that, but I feel like with that kind of in the center of your spread here, the majority of you, it's like you want the promise of long-term commitment here. And so I'm not totally sure what to do with that message, because I don't know, maybe there is something of value knowing that this isn't forever. With the Knight of Wands, maybe it grants you a little bit of freedom, or it grants you a little bit more excitement to know that there aren't necessarily, I don't know, strings attached, or there isn't sort of like the seriousness of sort of the Hierophant energy. It's something that you can dip into and play at and have some fun doing, and then you can kind of pull back and do your own thing. It might grant you more independence or freedom. I don't know if this is talking about a romantic relationship for some of you. It's possible. I mean, if these two cards just came out, I'd say that could be a marriage proposal, potentially. But it's not kind of going that way for me. It could be that someone proposes something to you, but yeah, you're not all in, Cancer. You're very like, I got to think about this. I don't know if it's right for me. And with the Four of Cups, that's very much like it doesn't quite feel right, or I'm sort of getting comfortable with the idea of how this might feel and what this might look like. It's trying to use your imagination or creativity to kind of like see into the future of how this is going to grow or how it's going to build. And then, yes, for some of you, it's like, this is not a typical Cancerian message, but not wanting to sacrifice your independence or not feeling like this offer or opportunity is in alignment with who you are anymore. And I feel like I've given you that message recently. Something about loyalty is coming through very strongly. You might be collaborating with someone who's kind of shown their true colors, and you sort of have a vibe on what's going on. And so you might be a little bit less likely to, I don't know, like bend over backwards for this person, this entity, this group, this job, whatever it is. It's like your self-respect seems to be a high priority, as it should be. And so whatever this offer is, again, it's a Page of Pentacles offer. So it's not blowing you out of the water. It's the idea that this is a seed that we can nurture and grow into something greater. But I think you're questioning if it feels right. You're questioning if it feels right. Yes, some of you, it's like you think, or you know, your spirit guides may be telling you that there's a need to be patient here and see what comes through in the near future. I don't know. Nothing, because there's a lot of earth energy here. You don't want to jump to quick decisions or quick conclusions. And it feels like it's been a slow process anyway. A lot of earth energy here. Something about this process is helping to better nurture yourself and get more clarity on what you want. And some of you, you're still kind of in that in-between of, I think I want this, but can I make it work? And is this right for me? Does it fit in my life? Is it the right timing? For a lot of you, this is a time of healing too, with Temperance coming through. You have strong Taurus energy, which has a lot to do with friendship groups, circles, communities, and also your future, how you want to build. Slow and steady wins the race, right? With Taurian energy in your 11th house. And then Sagittarius has to do with your health, right? My Cancer risings anyway. Your mental health, but also your work obligations and your daily rhythm and routine. That seems to be under construction or undergoing renovation, I'm hearing, or almost like Pluto energy. It's like destruction in order to create something new that's more solid and more stable. So yeah, there's no need to rush this decision. I think you're right to try and be patient and be balanced as you move forward with this thing or this person. But again, Sagittarius energy says it doesn't necessarily have to be forever. There might be something useful knowing that this is temporary or that you're experiencing it to learn. And then there might be some sort of new opportunity that presents itself, but it's not quite here yet. But don't think you've been forgotten or that this is the best it gets. That's not true. This is like a sneak preview of what's to come, if that makes sense for you. All right, thanks, Cancer. All right, Leo, what's up? Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. What is a narrative or storyline? Something that might be dealing with that wants to come through and help inform them this week. Ooh, communication. A really good idea. Breaking of silence. Feeling victorious. This speaks to me about making a final decision. If you've been at a crossroads or an in-between, some sort of new information or insight comes through where you're ready to move forward. That's that, Aries action-oriented card, especially with the Mercury retrograde, right? Mercury is now direct, but it's retracing its path through Aries. This is an Aries card. Mercury symbolically is with the swords, the mind, the communication, the writing, the processing of information. So yeah, there's some sort of information that finally comes through where you're like, okay, I can do this, or we did it, or this could even have to do with some sort of like document that was needing to be rewritten or re-examined, or again processed, submitted. It may even have to do with a writing project for some of you, creativity energy. For a lot of you, there could be a conversation that helps move things forward. It helps you get closer to your goalpost, if that makes sense for any of you. So what are we able to like leave behind or move forward from? The King of Pentacles. All right, so there may have been something stuck up with something to do with your money and finances. You may have more clarity, or again, if there was a negotiation of contract for more money or applying to a new job, it seems like we're making progress and we're not as worried. We can kind of release that as a burden or a stress or a struggle. Others of you, it may have to do with an earth sign, a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, especially a Taurus energy. The sun is moving through, for my Leo risings anyway, the sun moving through Taurus is really highlighting your 10th house about your work life, your status, your standing in the world. Again, reputation, your public image. And that may be going through some sort of rehaul or transformation, how you show up in the world and how people view you, how people relate to you. Things going on with your career, with your boss, with even a parental figure potentially. Maybe you're helping find some sort of financial solution to something involving your parents or your work life. It could have to do with that as well. There could be an idea of wanting to travel, but not necessarily feeling like you have the money. So maybe you're deciding to move forward with some sort of trip or travel anyway, because it's like, there's almost like a YOLO energy. It's like money comes and goes, so we can't always be so precious about it. If it's going to bring us inspiration and joy and happiness, Leo, you might be like, you know what, let's just do it. Let's book the tickets. We'll figure it out. Some of you are dealing with debt or something to do with credit or loans or finances. Again, you may have more clarity on how to move forward, how to sort of slay that dragon or conquer that battle, so to say. There is some sort of fear here, though, with the Eight of Swords. That's the mental prison. So it's hard to hear it at the time, but it can be very stressed, not knowing how to move forward, feeling very stuck. The Circle of Swords, though, represents our thoughts. So it's our own thoughts holding us back when this comes through, which is a blessing and a curse, because it's acknowledging this is not easy. Or maybe this has to do with someone you're dealing with. But ultimately, like, we can empower ourselves with that sort of truth and, like, you know, cut ourselves free from this little cloth, this little rope that's sort of, you know, supposedly holding us back. But it does have to do with trying to see things from a different perspective, or needing to be better informed rather than just hoping the solution or the answer comes. I do think you are being asked to take action towards a conversation or action towards whatever this is, the research, or put it in writing, you know, reach out, ask for what you need, because that's going to help you. Just getting out of the state of, I don't know, nothing makes sense. There is sort of some take the initiative to help get yourself out of this sticky situation. And for a lot of you, it's just fear. So I think it has to do with sort of positive affirmations or confirmations that you are good enough and you do deserve good things. And, you know, if you are having money troubles, remember that that's temporary. Things are going to change. There is something about being at a crossroads and like a new path reveals itself for a lot of you. But some of you don't believe that. Some of you think this is going to be an ongoing situation that, you know, it feels like you may have been in crisis mode a little bit, especially with that Mercury retrograde. Yeah, there's a positive path forward. There's a solution. There's something that ignites you again. It lights your fire. It offers you hope and optimism again to get back on track. If this does have to do with conversing with a certain person, maybe it's your King of Pentacles here, again, possibly an earth sign, it doesn't have to be. It seems like there's not only conversation and clarity, there's enthusiasm, right? There's passion and excitement with the Ace of Wands to move forward, right? The Ace of Wands can have kind of like a fun, like what excites you, what lights your fire. Sometimes it's a very like sexual energy too. So maybe some of you, you're professing a truth to a romantic partner that you still love them or you miss them or, you know, something of the sort. It's not only like clear, it's not only communicating, it's communicating with passion and enthusiasm and excitement. And so if that's the case, maybe this fear is just like, I hope they feel the same, right? But with that, it's like, well, you're not going to know until you try. So again, you need to be action oriented. Find the inspiration even on days when it's hard. I think that's going to be important advice. So what's the deal with this? We are holding on. Yeah, we're holding on to some sort of opportunity, but not doing anything with it is giving us anxiety and sleepless nights. So you have two cards of being stuck versus, again, looking at what you have, looking at things that are going right and making the most of them. I do think there's help available to you, whether you realize it or not. Again, maybe this has to do with money or a good idea or a project or making an offer to someone else. Page of Pentacles says it's early on in the game, so like don't expect miracles overnight, but this is, you know, there's a certain amount of responsibility and dedication you need to this person or this topic, this project. It's saying, you know, this seed has all the potential to grow into something beautiful and impress this King of Pentacles, but we kind of have to take it a day at a time. But yeah, there is something here about you holding yourself back because of fear and anxiety. Maybe it has to do with sort of criticism or approval or feeling worthy, something about, look at this cool pentacle I have, but then holding yourself back because you're like, oh, they're not going to like it. They're going to think I'm foolish. They're going to think I'm silly. They're going to think I'm X, Y, and Z. And I think this is about like the self-empowerment, doing it for you, not for the respect or the appreciation of others. With that, it's like, you'll find your people, you'll find your tribe. But as long as you're doing it with like a clear conscience and doing something because you know it's going to help you or make you happy, remember that it has nothing to do with the reception of others, because like, again, that's like kind of a weird way of moving forward in the world, is wanting the approval of others. Now you're human, right? Especially, Leo, the sun, right? You want the attention, you want the light. But again, if you're living your life for the purposes of impressing other people, you're doing it wrong. Do it for you, and they'll come. You'll find your people, right? It's like if you build it, they will come. All right, thanks, Leo. Hello, Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Let's see what's coming in for you guys in the next couple weeks. Messages, storylines, who or what's coming in for Virgo. All right, so possibly an ending, something that's been really labor intensive. Ooh, and possibly painful, or really taking a toll on your mental health, just feeling kind of buried under a lot of work, like seeking a way out and just feeling, like overwhelmed, stressed, underappreciated. Virgo, my goodness, what is going on? Like, I'm here to help you, but also you have like some of the 3 most challenging cards coming up here. So let's help you as best I can, right? I mean, I don't know what's going on here, but this is a Saturn card, so it's saying a lot of work, a lot of responsibility is likely falling on you, but it's at a point where it can't go on like this anymore. And with the Ten of Swords, you know that, and I almost think for some of you, there's like a blow to the... I don't know if blow to the ego is correct, but something that I think you sort of thought that by undertaking this heavy load, or this putting in all this energy, it was going to get you somewhere. And maybe that was praise or recognition or a promotion or winning the praise and the attention of a romantic suitor. And so I think you are happy to continue living your life this way, but the universe is like, whoa, this isn't healthy. Like, especially health-wise, you can't continue to metaphorically, excuse me, carry this heavy load. It's funny, my throat chakra all of a sudden is like tight. I wonder if that has to do with your situation. Or maybe it's allergies. Anyway, moving on. So it's almost like in some ways you were happy to do this, even though on the inside you knew it wasn't healthy, or it wasn't serving you, or you came to sort of that shocking recognition where it felt like somebody pulled the carpet out from under you. This almost has the vibe of like breaking your back at a job and feeling like, I'm gunning for the promotion or this or that, or, it's all going to happen. It's just a matter of time. I just got to keep doing my thing. And then it's like they let you go, or they cut your hours, or somebody really disappoints you, or ends up being kind of a shady character in your life that you would put a lot of faith and trust and loyalty in. And so now I think with the Eight of Swords, it's like you're not trusting your intuition, or you feel pushed into a corner. You feel sort of stuck. So, this is very tricky energy. Now, keep in mind, if you're not resonating with this, great, because in some ways this is a very challenging storyline, but do remember it's not forever, right? If it is your story. Also, if this isn't you, I guess I'm being called to say, is this someone else in your life who's putting a lot of work and effort into a relationship, maybe to be with you, but maybe they're not feeling appreciated, or they're not feeling seen, or I almost think here too, there's something like deer in headlights, or fear to approach someone and speak the truth. Again, there might be multiple people involved here. If this has to do with, feeling underappreciated at work, it's almost like you need to step up and speak to someone and be like, listen, like, I did all the work on that project and so took the credit. But it also, like, by stepping up, it really puts you out of your comfort zone and having to have a difficult conversation. I think a little bit of fear is holding you back. And again, so I don't know why specifically with this, it almost feels like a cross-watcher reading to me a little bit too, of someone who might be needing to connect with Virgo in a way that puts them out of their comfort zone, but something here, we can't continue the relationship this way anymore because it's not working energetically, physically, mentally. Sometimes when this card comes up, it's not saying abandon ship, but the approach, the way you're doing it doesn't work anymore. So you may need to seek some sort of creative solution. If this card comes up for, the working mom, right? She does all the things. She does the laundry and she does the cooking, but she's also doing the 9 to 5 and taking care of the kids or whatever. Sometimes this is a card of where can you delegate? Where can you ask for help? Where are you trying to be Superman or Superwoman when the universe is like, that was never your job? And so that's what I mean by like a humbling energy. It doesn't have to be humbling. It's unless you're a person who really has trouble asking for help. And I'm going to say sometimes that's Virgo. I think you guys have such a strong work ethic and strong work mentality that it's not always your comfort zone to be like, hey, can you help me? This seems to be a situation where that might be called for, or again, having a conversation to fix something and find a better solution. Yeah, a sense of overwhelm, feeling like you're being pulled in too many directions. And again, this won't be for all of you, but for some of you, the major issue was you didn't realize just how much energy you were extending to all these people or all these groups or all these projects. It's almost like there was anxiety and stress of how am I going to get it all done? But for some of you, it didn't even occur to you that like maybe you don't need to. Maybe you need to pull back your energy on some or release, right? With with the 10 of Wands, it says it's at the end of a cycle. So maybe some of the things you're metaphorically carrying around here or feeling burdened by or responsible to, maybe you can cut them loose. Maybe you never needed it because maybe it's actually making your job harder. Maybe you're carrying around dead weight that you don't need. So with the 10 of Swords, again, similar, the 10s are indicating two cycles, and it's possibly connected. I assume it is. But cycles essentially that are coming to an end, but not in a way where it's like, we did it. This is great. This is like getting a little bit of like a piece of humble pie or an awakening, a recognition that I can't do this any longer because we've reached a point of crisis or we've reached a point of like disappointment where things didn't go the way we had planned, the way we had started this. It's ultimately ending in a different way, in a different fashion. So it's like, if we're going to go back and redo this or revamp it or reorganize it or reconsider if we're still in this together, again, maybe it's a collaboration or a partnership, a lot of things have to change here. Why the 10 of Swords? And because it's a sun in Gemini, it's the illumination of information for me as a reader. That's how I read this card, that it can no longer be ignored. The sun is our growth and our destiny, and it's often related to our career and how we shine our light and how we express ourselves. Here it's like the swords are pointed down, so they're not coming from a good place. It's like a negative situation or a toxic situation or someone struggling with maybe depression or something like that, where they're not channeling higher vibrational messages by pointing up to the sky. So what is this about? A lot of times too, it's like we've committed ourselves to something that actually isn't for our best and highest good. The man always has his hands in this sort of like faith position that we see in the Hierophant card, which is like, the priest, the pastor, the teacher, whatever, the Hierophant Taurian energy. Here it's like whatever we've committed ourselves to actually ended up being sort of like to our demise. Anxiety, my God, Virgo, this is like the heaviest reading. This almost seems like something that it didn't blindside you. There was a lot leading up to this, but I think you were ignoring the signs and signals that we need to pump the brakes or it needs to come to a screeching halt. Instead, it was almost this indecision of, I know something needs to change. I know I need to confront this person, but I haven't quite figured out how to do it yet. So I'm just going to keep steaming ahead. I'm going to keep rolling ahead. And then because of that, the universe has essentially brought an end to the story or not closure, but essentially something has come to a screeching halt, like through no desire of your own. Like you didn't cause that action. Again, multiple people may be involved here, but because it was taking such a toll on you physically, mentally, emotionally, right? 7 of Cups, it can no longer move on from here. Oh gosh, these cards are like heavy. So the fear card, the self-imposed limitations, the mental prison, it comes from a place of not wanting to get back in the fight or not wanting to stir up unnecessary energy, not wanting to be in a quarrel or like agitate someone. But the thing is, Virgo, this might be a lesson in sometimes anger or drama or chaos is an excellent motivator to get you to a better place that you need to be. But I think for a lot of you, you'd rather just sidestep it or I'm literally seeing, for those who watch New Girl, right? The character Nick. It's like when he doesn't want to deal with conflict, he like moonwalks out of the room and it's like, hey, don't you moonwalk. I see you doing that. You come back here and face this. And like, obviously I'm interjecting a little bit of humor because, oh my gosh, this is heavy energy. But that's sort of how I see this. It's like you're trying to moonwalk out of the room and not disturb the peace. And like, hopefully nobody notices and I can avoid any like, blow ups or lashing out or whatever. But this, I think that's your only way through this is to stir up some conflict because something here isn't right. Someone here maybe has been abusing their power or taking you for granted or something like that. And so in some ways, conflict is necessary because it illuminates both people to how they participated in something that wasn't balanced. It wasn't reciprocal. There wasn't equilibrium or there wasn't a good rapport or a good dynamic there. So I very rarely say this, but to me, it's like what the universe is saying here, you're going to have to face your fear, you know? The only thing to fear is fear itself. You have fear of conflict or fear of fighting or raising your voice to this person and setting firmer boundaries. But here's the thing with this person has very unhealthy boundaries. This is a yes person. Just like, oh, can you do this? Yeah, sure. Oh, can you do this too? Can you pick up the laundry? Can you pick up the kids? Can you do this? Can you do that? Yes, sure. Yep, I got it. And I think some of you, when I mention the word ego, it has to do with you sort of accepting the truth that you don't have to do everything. That was never your role. That was never your job. And what are you sacrificing in order to be a yes person to other people? When I think this is about you coming out of your shell and being a better advocate for yourself, knowing that, yeah, you know what? That is going to make other people uncomfortable. When you start drawing healthier boundaries and show up for yourself in a new way, and that impacts your relationship, people don't always like it because you've always done everything for them. So when you start saying, no, I'm sorry, I can't. Or just no. I don't even think it has to be no, I'm sorry. Just no is a full sentence. When you start doing that, people are like, well, wait a minute, what's going on with Virgo? I think that's necessary, though, guys. I think that's necessary. Any last things I can tell Virgo about this? My strongest advice to you is stop, because the way you're doing it now, it's not working. My second advice to you is you have to face this person. You have to face this fear. You have to face this conflict. Irritating other people, agitating them, it's not always a bad thing, though, because ultimately what you're seeking is to reestablish harmony and balance of this relationship. You know, as long as you're not coming at it with a vengeful attitude of like, I just want them to suffer the way I did. Well, obviously, no, that's not healthy. That's shadow side energy. If that was the case, though, you wouldn't be showing up as Eight of Swords, because this is you're very apprehensive again to, I don't want to tip the scales. I don't want to upset anybody. No, Virgo, upset them. Because I think there's just something that needs to be released, and like I'm wanting to say like expelled here. Yeah. And who knows, maybe by facing this fear or by moving forward with something that frightens you, maybe it actually ends much better than you're anticipating, because maybe for some of you, this is jumping to worst case scenario. I think for a lot of you, you're already seeing things very clearly about what transpired and sort of the result of all this chaos, but the story isn't over yet, though. I think that's sort of what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I think there's a conversation with someone from your past you need to revisit. You need to reawaken or restir sort of the conversation, which is likely going to incite some drama, some chaos, some feelings. Don't be afraid of that, though. It's a very necessary stepping stone. It's a part of your healing journey. It's a part of your healing path. And I would even argue for whoever or whatever is involved, it's part of their healing path, too. So, like, don't resist this. Don't deny each other the lessons that you both are learning from this. All right, thanks, Virgo. Hello, Libra babes. Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. What is coming in for you? Celebrations, reunions, hanging out with your girl gang, your squad, your posse. Maybe a little bit of drama, maybe a little bit of competition, but this could also be friendly competition. To me, these can be two very social cards of going out and playing games. You know, this could be healthy competition. You know, maybe you're going to the bar, the arcade, the this, the that, and there's, especially if this is a date, there could be some like friendly, flirty, like I'm going to school you and this and that, and like, I don't know if you're into that, but I don't know, some Libras kind of act more like the Aries thing, where it is kind of, you know, competitive and kind of like sassy, right? That's sort of what this card can be. Let's see. Others of you might be having a fight or a quarrel with your friend, maybe your Leo friend, maybe even your child. Your child might be testing their boundaries and going out and doing things that you don't necessarily approve of. And so you may have to shine some light on that. And the thing is, if you do, generally speaking, this feels very positive to me. So on the off chance that you are sort of having a small quarrel or fight with someone, I think there's going to be peace established. I think if you shine some light on it, you guys will come together and reunite and be like, it's cool, I'm sorry, yeah, me too. That's what this feels like for the most part. Most of you, the storyline goes about sassy, friendly, social interactions. There could be a Leo coming into your life that's very flirty. I think Leo can do that too. A lot of like the fiery energy. There can be something that's kind of like teasing you a little bit, but that's how they flirt. It's like that's their love language, and that's by no means across the board something everybody wants or appreciates, but I'm just relaying the message that might be this person's love language. So if it's yours too, great. If it's not, there might be a little bit of feelings regarding how this person talks to you. But even if that's the case, it's like when you actually start to open up emotionally and be vulnerable, you start to realize, oh, that's their sense of humor. They're a little bit defensive because they're actually quite sensitive. So yeah, I mean, it can always be a bit of a labyrinth when you're first getting to know people and having to navigate around what, the psychology behind what's going on. We don't always know that. We're not always privy to that. Why the Three of Cups in Libra's energy? The Hermit. So especially if you're coming from a place where you felt a little isolated or just in hermit mode, maybe you've been studying, maybe you've been spending a lot of time in your house, maybe you've been doing something that's just very independent. Some of you may be rejoining again your group of friends. For some of you, you might be reuniting with old colleagues and, going out for drinks or doing, again, some sort of activity. Maybe you're going to yoga together, or you're going bowling, or I don't know. There's just something here about enjoying social time out and about rather than being in hermit mode. Again, for someone who is experiencing maybe a lull or a disconnect with a friend or some sort of strife in a social dynamic, in a social circle, if it was frosty, if it was cold, that seems to be thawing out. And I don't actually see a huge confrontation here where someone needs to sort of confront someone and address a behavior. It actually feels very like, you know what, live and let live. Like, it's not worth holding on to grudges or resentment. I think maybe some of you were struggling with that, and maybe like this pause or this break was very necessary because you realize in hindsight, like, yeah, you know what, like maybe I overreacted, or maybe it's not that important. And the thing is, I think your person's doing that too. It takes two to tango here. Generally speaking, yeah, I think this is like the star of healing, right? The star in his lantern, when we go into like soul searching mode and shine some light on it, we start to realize, yeah, you know what, like, it was, maybe it was just something in the stars that day. Maybe it was something weird. Maybe we were both stressed out and we overreacted. And like, anyway, I actually like this message. It just kind of seems like going out and having fun. The sun is all about creative expression, being your authentic self, letting your light shine, allowing others to shine their light without judgment. What else? So coming out of hermit mode, reuniting with the people. Yeah, some of you, if you've been single a long time, you've very likely been healing from a relationship. You have multiple cards of healing here. I would say you may be kind of going out and I don't know, getting on the apps, going out socially, going on dates, meeting friends of friends. And in which case, putting yourself in a position to maybe connect with someone who you have a lot in common with. I like this. It's sort of like, this is cheesy, I'm sorry, but it's kind of like single and ready to mingle energy. And I think this is important too with the Nine of Pentacles lady, man, whoever, it doesn't matter the gender, but there's something here about going in without any expectation. That's when you can really relax and enjoy yourself because you're obviously not expecting a certain outcome. You're not putting all this pressure on yourself or this person to be Mrs. Right or Mr. Right or the one or whatever. This is just like going out and meeting people without expectation. That's frequently like this lighthearted, buoyant, jovial, fun energy. That's when you find people who are kind of in alignment with you because you happen to be at the same place at the same time and the same good vibe and the same good energy. This just feels very like basking in sort of the good things that life has to offer. The word loyalty is always very important for me as a reader when I see the Nine of Pentacles person. So yeah, for a lot of you, it's like going out with friends who have been a mainstay in your life for a long time. People who you have established trust and loyalty with, who are looking out for your best and highest good. Friends who, like, if you go on a date, you immediately text them after and be like, oh my God, so this is what happened. That feels very like what's going on here. It's like your besties, your clan, your tribe, however you want to say it. Yeah, so the Tower here is like unexpected fun or unexpected encounters. There could even be some sort of unusual storyline with a child coming through here. And I don't think it's a bad thing, but again, for one or two of you, there may be issues going on with your child in terms of temperament or mood or bad behavior or almost like rebellious teenage years. That's a double-headed message though, so hang with me even if you don't have kids. For some of you, it's literally your child where you're just having to kind of like revisit a conversation because they had sort of a temper tantrum and you're like, hey, what's actually going on? When you actually kind of like let your guard down and give this person space to express themselves freely, you learn that there actually wasn't the malintent or it's not the malicious energy you may have thought it was. In hindsight, you're going to be like, oh, that's why you were acting that way? Like, oh, like you were being bullied at school, or you misunderstood that, mommy and daddy aren't fighting, or, like there's some sort of like misunderstanding that there's like an awakening about how some conversation transpired and how it wasn't actually authentically representing the truth. And that takes time for someone to see. It's like only in hindsight is 2020. Others of you, if you don't have a child, this may have to do with your own inner child and getting back into that sort of playful state or rebellious teenage energy, like something you did when you were younger, whatever that is to you. Yeah, it can be your teenage years, it can be your college years, whatever. There's no like age specifically on this. But it's like doing something that you used to do when you were younger because you were a little bit more wild. You were a little bit more free. You were willing to roll the dice a little bit more and take a risk on people. Or, maybe over time you became more, hermity. You became more shy, more in your shell, less likely to be extroverted. This is tapping into really good energy this week of doing something unexpected and therefore yielding unexpected results. But those unexpected results, they feel lovely. They feel like a blessing. It feels like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this ages ago? Or if, your friends have been trying to get you to go out and, I don't know, do paint night or pottery night with them. And, you've always had a reason why you couldn't. One day you're just like, you know what? Okay, cool. Let's do it. You make plans and it's like the coolest thing ever. And you have so much fun doing it. And there's this unexpected surprise where you're like, this is so much fun. Like this person is so cool. Like, I think this is actually working to establish a new friendship or relationship in your life that could actually be long-standing. But again, don't go in with the expectation of like, yes or no. Do I like this person or not? Because you don't need that pressure. You don't need that expectation. Just let it be organic. Let it develop naturally. But I actually think this is a lovely surprise in the making. All right, thanks. All right, Scorpio gang, what's up? Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Let's see who or what is coming towards you in the next couple weeks for Scorpio. My Scorpio babes. What's up, Scorp? Hope you're doing well. All right, someone who's very passionate, someone who's very flirty, someone who's got a very strong sex drive, someone who's fun, someone who's adventurous, possible Sagittarian energy, or really, you have a lot of fire energy here. So, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You may have two suitors, possibly. I almost think you're being represented as the Queen of Wands, though. So this may actually be, I'm sort of hearing the idea of like someone coming from your side view, or from your peripheries. Like it's something that maybe you've considered revisiting, or someone who they're in your social network and you're kind of like, they're kind of interesting, but it's like you took your mind off of it and then it comes in and you're, part of you, it's like, it's very self-satisfying because you're like, I knew it. I knew they were going to ask me out. Yeah, oh my goodness, this seems really nice for you, Scorpio. Hell yeah. So, I mean, for my Scorpio risings, Taurus is the ruler of your 7th house of relationships. We have a lot of planets moving through Taurus, including Venus, which is the planet most associated with love and connection, right? So whether you're Scorpio rising or not, that energy of connection through opposition, through partnership is very much available to you right now. So even if it's work related, this seems like a cool, maybe it's a job opportunity you thought about applying to, and then it's like a headhunter reaches out to you. It's that type of like, this isn't totally brand new or totally unexpected, but it wasn't the main focus. It wasn't where you were focusing your energy. And so it just comes in naturally and organically. And, arguably this was the soulmate card. Sometimes I view it as like a milestone in a relationship where you start taking things to the next level. So if this has been someone in your friend group, maybe this is like you officially decide to start dating, like you're officially a couple. It can be moving in together or just spending a lot of time at each other's houses. Milestone, I use that word loosely, but it's like establishing a new and more consistent rapport with each other. I like that for you, Scorpio. So tell me a little bit about this night and what super strong fire sign energy, guys. So maybe that's strong in your chart. Maybe you have a lot of Aries, Leo, Sag, whatever, or maybe this person has good fire placements. But just in general, the connection between you guys, it's fire. So what does that mean, right? It's passionate, it's enthusiastic, it's adventurous, it's curious. It wants to shine its light. It wants to express itself. It wants to be seen, right? That's important for fire. It's light. It wants to shed light. It wants to be illuminated. It loves a good compliment, right? Physical appearance, sexuality. This person may be a lover of travel or someone who has recently come back from a trip or travel. All right, you might be dealing with another Scorpio. It's possible for a few of you, this could have been someone who you've had an on-again, off-again thing with, but I want to be very clear, Scorpio. Lean in. Listen to this. If this is the person from the past you're obsessing about, it's not that person. And I don't mean to disappoint you, and I don't mean to like ruffle your feathers, but I can tell you why. This whole it comes in through the periphery. If you don't focus on this, it comes in when it's supposed to. But if this is the person you're like, I don't know, Facebook stalking or rereading texts every night from them or whatever, I don't mean to break your heart or disappoint you. It's not that person. And because that's coming up for a reason, like that was very channeled. I don't know why I'm saying that. That feels like somebody needed to hear that. Release and let go. That's very hard sometimes for anyone with strong fixed placements, but especially Scorpio, right? You guys are the maintainers as the fixed emotional water sign, right? Of emotions, holding on to the past, to the nostalgia, whatever. And part of that serves you. Part of that is wonderful, but you have to remember you have to do something with that emotion so that it's positive and it doesn't weigh you down. It doesn't drag you down. It doesn't become heavy. Transform it into something magic, into something beautiful, first and foremost for you. But yeah, some of you may have even a Scorpio, Sagittarius cusper coming in. And again, they're kind of already in your network or circling around you. I almost feel like this person may even plan to visit or breathe new life into something. Again, with this milestone thing, it almost seems like a friendship that finally starts to take off into something more romantic. And I know this sounds very like rom-com, like unrealistic scenario, but this almost has a vibe of like you guys end up on a road trip together, and through that sort of like intimate time together that you wouldn't ordinarily get, you start to catch feelings or something like that. Like, again, like there's something about you didn't plan this. It was very like, I don't know if unexpected is the right word, but the way it happens, I'm hearing the word like happenstance, circumstance, it's something that comes in and it's very easy. It's an organic connection that with the Four of Wands, it only grows from here. And it's an exciting connection. It's someone who's fun. It's someone who's silly. It's someone who likes to laugh. Again, someone who's very curious. They might be enrolled in courses or education or studying to get a degree or something very like Sagittarian, really involved in expansion of their mind right now or expansion of their faith, their beliefs. They might be very spiritual. Yeah. So tell me what's going on with this. Something about a black cat or a cat. That might be important. Maybe you're dealing with a Leo, or that could be someone's name, cat. That could also be something symbolic, a tattoo. Something about a cat is important here. All right, so then you have the Seven of Cups. So, okay, I don't hate this because I think this is saying because of the way this develops, you're not blindsided by it because you already kind of got a vibe like, is this person into me, or why do I feel like I'm going to be put on this project with this person at work? You're very psychic. You're very tuned into this. So something about when this comes together, you're not really jumping to any extreme conclusions about how you feel about them because that's not warranted. Again, it's just like circumstantial, like someone you kind of know, you end up realizing, oh, they're friends with my friend and now we're all going out to dinner together, or we're all whatever, going to, I don't know, play basketball together, whatever it is. So this sort of like complex, well, wait a minute, how do I feel and do I want to return the message? That's not so much a factor here. If anything, I think the Seven of Cups may be saying, this is important, you guys. The person that you're focused on, if they're not in your life, again, that whole story of possibly holding on to an ex or holding feelings for someone who, for some of you, you're holding on to feelings for someone who's already married. The way the Queen of Wands is looking at the Four of, so if that's the case, that's why this is coming in, because it's not the one that you're focused on. The one, it's like you're putting a lot of pressure on it to be something or to manifest something out of it. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm just saying it may end up being a waste of your energy, or you may come to realize like that one didn't even matter, because when I meet this person, slowly I become so blown away by their energy, and there's something kind of kismet. There's a good connection. There's a good energy. There's a good back and forth. There's a good rapport with this person that you start to lose feelings or diminish feelings from the one that you were focused on, that for some reason or another, it wasn't coming in. It may have been one of those things that like rejection is protection, or a blessing in disguise that something didn't come through, because it was actually like holding space for something that's actually like a better fit or a better match. And here's the thing, like I feel the energy attached to that, and some of you aren't ready to hear that. So, okay, that's fair. That's cool. Like, it's your life. You're in the driver's seat. I just would say, don't close yourself off to the opportunity or the possibility that there's actually someone out there for you that is, there's just a far better connection. So, just be careful what you focus all your energy on. I would say be happy in sitting in sort of the the idea of possibility, that there's actually, you know, plenty of fish in the sea. I know it's cheesy, but I don't know. If this is a Scorpio, I'm liking their vibe. I mean, Scorpio and Scorpio, that could be a very intense relationship, right? I'm not saying it has to be, again, fire sign energy, whatever, water sign. Yeah, a few of you, it seems like you still think about someone who may be married. Again, that's not for everyone, or in a strong commitment. Oh boy. And then it gets dramatic, because for one or two of you, oh gosh, this took a turn. I mean, everything I said still applies. That being said, some of you are having this sort of psychic feeling, or this idea, this connection, that someone who is in this happily ever after marriage, it actually isn't that happy, and it might be kind of falling apart at the seams. And so hopefully you're not instigating that or supporting it. But I think here's the thing, this feels very like innocent bystander. Like, I'm just going to watch and see what happens, because either way, I think this still happens. I think there's something else coming in that the universe is like, hey, here's another option. Are you interested? Again, you always have the choice. You always have the power to choose what you want. But yeah, for some of you, you're kind of watching from the sidelines, sensing or literally seeing a friend or someone you kind of know go through a divorce, and you're like, I'm going to wait for my moment. I'm going to, like, it's like you're ramping up to, like, I don't know, make this connection happen. And maybe it's from your past with the death card here, but yeah, interesting. Or, okay, so if you're not watching a marriage go up in flames and waiting for your turn to step in and, like, which again, I kind of have mixed feelings about, you know, I don't know the specific details here, but it could be that there's, again, watching some sort of romantic couple fall apart at the seams, and you're like, you know, it's almost my time, like they're almost mine. Careful with that. Careful. You don't want to set yourself up for disappointment, or, you know, go in with expectations that, okay, great, this person's single now, so I can hop in and date them, because likely this person needs some time to heal and get their life together. But, you know, again, do as you will. Others of you, I think this is saying an unexpected connection may actually lead to your happily ever after. And I do think it's unexpected. It's not necessarily brand new. Like, you probably know this person's face, even if you don't know their name. Like, maybe you work together or this or that. Some sort of fortuitous connection or pairing up of you guys. It ends up being like this, oh, I'm kind of blown away by how simpatico we are. There's a better word for that. How in tune we are. And I mean, that's important, right? You need a relationship with depth, Scorpio, right? Anyway, all right, love that. Thanks, Scorpio. What's up, Sagittarius? Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Who or what is coming in for you? Aries energy. Someone, I'm hearing the word stoic. Someone who's kind of serious, but we have to remember it's Aries energy when this card comes through. So this person has a lot of passion, but you really have to, like, penetrate through the surface to get to that kind of fun, lighthearted energy. This person has a very strong, like, Mars, Saturn energy, like authority, seriousness, very strong work ethic. For one or two of you, this may even have to do with an authority figure, your boss, your father. Sometimes the Emperor represents that, but let's see where this goes. For Sagittarius, what about this Emperor? What does this Emperor want? Ooh, this Emperor's being difficult or stubborn or starting some drama, a little bit of fighting energy. Or, you know, this person may be fighting to get your attention or fighting to be in your life. It's a fighting energy. It's a fighting card. Sometimes it's deflecting, or sometimes it's trying to push through someone else's walls or you know, get through to someone. Anxiety. Yeah, so I think this person has feelings for you, and they feel like they're being, I don't know why I'm saying this, eclipsed out of the picture with this dark energy. It could be someone that you've had some drama with, or had some kind of sassy, I don't know if sassy is the right word. It could be something that's kind of at the brink of, like, a falling out, or just like, you may kind of be like, you know what, like, I'm done with this. I'm throwing in the towel. Like, this person is nothing but trouble, nothing but drama. And again, keep in mind, this could be your boss. This could be a coworker. And then the thing is, like, this person doesn't want to lose you. So if they did misspeak or misstep, they definitely regret it. I don't know why. I'm already sensing from you, Sag, it's like too little too late. So where is Sag in this energy? But this person stays up at night thinking about you, thinking about what you guys said or talked about, and it feels kind of heartbroken. But that's what I mean. You never know it to look at them, because this person has trouble being vulnerable and letting their walls down. To express true emotions, they view that as weakness, probably because that's how they were raised, probably because they have daddy issues, male, female, or whatever they identify with. They probably had a very stern, like, kind of, again, authoritarian father figure in their life, and that without fail, probably, left an impression for life. And so they see emotions as weakness. So even though they're trying to get you back or get back into your good graces, or I'd say apologize very loosely, they're not doing it with like a, hey, I'm sorry, can we talk? They're doing it with like I don't know. I feel bad if this is a cross-watcher reading because I know I'm going to offend somebody. And I don't mean to. I have to tell you what I see here. This person is expecting you to be able to read their mind because they don't want to do the heavy lifting of having to actually go to that vulnerable place and express it. Instead, they're hoping that they're like hot and cold with you or playing games, but it's like they're trying to get you to open up without actually having to say, hey, can we talk? I feel weird about this. Like they're wanting you to pick up psychically on what's going on. And like, I just have to be honest, that's sort of like a really super immature way of handling this. Now, do keep in mind, guys, if this is a cross-watcher reading, that's how someone's feeling about you, Sagittarius, that you're not able to open up and they, maybe you have anxiety about it. Maybe you're thinking about someone and you feel like you need to make something right, but you're not able to bring yourself to do it yet. Because again, that Saturn energy, Saturn is all about, and not that that's typically connected with Emperor energy, but I'm just getting that here. It just feels very like seriousness, responsibility, authority, heaviness, but also Saturn is fear, right? It sort of is constrictive. It keeps us from growing and evolving if we don't use it in a way that is productive and like responsible, like a good work ethic. Otherwise, Saturn is just like, oh, I'm afraid of that, so I'm going to run away from it so I don't have to deal with it. There can be like an avoidance with Saturn energy. Yeah, so someone here is on the fence. I for a lot of you, if this is not a cross-watcher reading, if this is someone in your life who's just stirring up a lot of drama, I think part of you wanted to be the rescuer at a certain period of time and help them because you know that they're going through some stuff. And so I think part of you feels guilty or, doesn't feel good about just releasing them out into the world and being like, I'm done, I don't want to date you, I don't want to work for you, whatever it is. But it's like your emotions might be getting to you, or there's a soft spot in your heart because it's like you don't want to abandon them, but I think you also are struggling to make it work with them. With the Two of Pentacles, it can be like there's a lot going on and we're kind of juggling a lot in the air and we're trying to make these two things work together in unison, right? But there's also this infinity loop of never quite getting it right, never quite feeling like comfortable and in a place where it's working properly and efficiently. I think that's a really good word for this. So yeah, for a lot of you, this seems like you're kind of on the cusp or on the brink of closing a door with this person, but I get it. You understand that this person isn't good at being vulnerable and asking for what they need and asking for help. But again, it's almost like you're taking responsibility for their handicap, and rather than kind of offering them the lesson that, hey, if something's important to you, you do need to step up and vocalize it. Like, I can't always be a mind reader or come to your rescue. There is like a rescuer syndrome here. I think, you feel guilty or shamed about letting this go, but I think you also know it's not necessarily the healthiest connection for you. I think this person has relied on you for a lot. And I don't know, maybe taking you for granted, maybe not. But in some ways, you are enabling. Thank you, Spirit. That was the word I was looking for. You're enabling unhealthy behavior on this person's part because you've always been there to, again, save the day when something goes wrong. And I think in some ways, this person needs to learn to rescue themselves a little bit. Now, I'm all about, collaboration and partnership. And sometimes when you're in a relationship, someone has to do more of the heavy lifting. But again, eventually the scales reset and then it goes the other way, right? Everybody goes through periods and chapters where they're not able to show up in a relationship, 100%. That's just life. That's just human beings and human behavior. And like, we compensate for that. And if we're with a good person, they don't hold it against us. They just do it. But I sort of see you always being this person's sort of safe haven, or always being the rescuer, or always coming through and saving the day, helping them pay their bills because they overspent again. So maybe this has to do with a family member even. Maybe it's a sibling. Maybe it's a father, whoever. And I think at a certain point, you're overextending yourself to save this person. And in some way, it's starting to be taxing on you where you're not feeling appreciated. Or the thing is, it's not even that. It's not even your ego. I think it's fear of letting people down. I think for a lot of my Sagittarians, it's almost like you see it as your duty to help people out when they're in a tough spot. And part of me wants to applaud you for that, for your selflessness and generosity. But also, I don't necessarily think it's always coming from a healthy place, because it's almost like you're wanting to avoid the disaster or the blowout. So it's like, I'll just pay the bill so that we don't have to get into a fight about it, or that, but again, enabling bad behavior, there's something that the person or the energy you're dealing with needs to learn through this connection with you, where I think, to be honest, you're being asked to step back a little bit. Especially in terms of what you provide to this, your physical, tangible stuff, your material goods, your money, I don't know, there's something about a pulling back of the energy in Taurus season. And so let me think about that. So for Sagittarius, your 7th house would be Gemini. So Taurus season has a lot to do with your daily health, your work, your routine, relationships with coworkers, your daily stuff going on at work. You also have Mars traveling through your 5th house of like dating, relationships, Mercury retrograde happened there too. So maybe there's sort of a reassessment of the relationships in your life, whether it's romantic, sexual, dating, or, I suppose it could be coworkers too. In theory though, you have Venus traveling through Taurus. So that, in theory, I'm not saying it's true for all of you because you all have different placements, but Venus traveling through there would actually offer you the opportunity to enjoy connections at work and enjoy sort of, some sort of implementation of something fun or beautiful or creative in your daily routine that you actually get a lot of pleasure from. But yeah, something's going on here with a personality in your life or a person, and it doesn't always seem to be reciprocal. And I think you're doing all the heavy lifting here, or again, this might be a cross-watcher reading, so whatever. Yeah, I think this is closing yourself off to energy or drawing healthier boundaries, allowing this person their own karma and their own life lessons. That doesn't make you the villain, Sagittarius. I think there is a fear of you coming off as selfish or greedy, or by withdrawing your energy, I think you're fearful of this person's judgment or that it makes you a bad person. There's something very service-oriented. It feels like you may have very strong spirituality or religious beliefs where it's like, no, it's my purpose here to serve. Yes, to a certain extent, but you can't pour from an empty cup. And it just feels like you're over-giving to someone, and again, possibly accidentally enabling their healthy behavior where they're not learning from it. Ooh, this is interesting. I feel like I know someone through friends of friends that actually is kind of going through something like this. That literally just occurred to me when I said that. So maybe this will resonate for some of you out there. I never know, right? When I give you these messages, I'm always like, this is what the cards say. I hope it makes sense for some of you. But yeah. So, and it doesn't have to be throwing in the towel, but I think this is reorienting yourself on how to show up for this person in a different way and not be their rescuer. Okay. Again, establishing better reciprocity, better balance, better equilibrium. This is very likely a person who has some shadow side stuff coming up. Maybe they definitely have their own insecurities, but again, instead of being open and vulnerable and talking about that with you and being quick to apologize if they did do something wrong, it's like they put up their walls deeper, but they expect you to penetrate them and just make it right. It's a very weird psychological strategy going on here that I don't even think they're fully aware of, but it's very deflective. It's very harsh. It's very like F off vibes. And at the same time, they're like, why did they leave me? Like it's challenging. It's challenging. And, I'm trying to read this through the lens of compassion. Like, it's not easy being this person, just to be clear. It's not like, everybody caters to them and it's such an easy life. No, like they're going through some stuff. And like in many ways you were a blessing in their life because you helped show them that there are good people in the world and that, you don't mind taking one for the team now and then. But when you're taking one for the team every time, it's almost like you're ignoring your own path and your own purpose, essentially, right? So yeah, I think that's important to mention. All right, Sagittarius, I will see you next week for more tarot. Thanks, guys. All right, Capricorn, what's up? Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Ooh, you got jumpers. What's coming in? What's coming in for you this week? Important news, important communications. Aces are always blessings. Frequently, the Ace of Swords to me represents some sort of victory. You've conquered something. You've done something. And with that, there's, that felt good with my phone going ding. Confirmation. Maybe you're getting a confirmation for something this week. Yeah, it's like we've achieved something and now we have a new insight. We have a new perspective on it. Let's see. Something about this crown is really sticking out to me. So feeling victorious and proud of yourself, like you've achieved something very important. All right, so a lot of sword energy, a lot of conversation energy. Queen of Swords typically represents Libra energy, so it can be about negotiations, contracts, collaborations, romantic partnerships. It's almost like the dust has settled or the clouds have cleared, so there's more clarity on something. If before we were kind of operating under some fogginess or false, I want to say like false pretenses. I don't know why that phrase is coming through, but operating in some way where there wasn't clarity, you seem to be conquering that this week. There's more clarity. Somebody expresses something that brings a more truth or more insight. If you're, I don't know, doing a research project, you actually get information that's super useful to you, and now you understand it, and now you're able to move forward with the next thing. All right. So some of you may be going through a breakup or through a divorce. If that is the case, and certainly that won't be for everyone, you seem to have landed on your feet very quickly. It could have been a long time coming. If you were going through a divorce settlement or having to negotiate in order to release yourself from some sort of burden or responsibility, or, if you're leaving a job, it seems like you're going out on a good note. It's like you're going to get really good recommendations. That's what I mean. There's like an amicable energy for you maybe breaking off and doing something more independently. I don't know why I got this. For some of you, it's like you may have a good friend who's moving away, who you're not going to see a lot, and so your final communications, I don't know why, it's like you were fearful that it would be too emotionally heavy to have to say goodbye to someone, but you actually have a lot of grace, and there's a lot of like, you're holding it together, you're well composed. So even though you're going off on your own and maybe there's a little bit of heavy-heartedness there, I do think you're seeing the bright side of the, sorry, I want to say the bright side of the coin. That doesn't make any sense. You're seeing the glass half full. You're seeing that this is actually a really good opportunity for you, even though you may be having to say goodbye to a friend. Maybe you're moving cities, maybe you're moving locations, maybe you're moving jobs, and you're not going to see that person as much as you used to, even if it wasn't romantic. There's like a small heavy-heartedness, but also knowing that you are making the right decision. You're making it with logic, with truth, with clarity. You're looking at the details, you're looking at the possible outcomes and scenarios. And honestly, for a lot of you, this feels like, this is best case scenario. Like I'm good. Maybe there was some nervous energy leading up to this, but yeah, you seem to be setting yourself up to be in a very advantageous position, Capricorn. What is this Ace of Swords? What is this Ace of Swords? Yeah, again, clarity through conflict, or something had to stir you, something had to agitate you. Something had to motivate you to seek clarity or to express a truth or to give notice. It's almost like sometimes the universe purposely makes us uncomfortable to let us know, like, hey, you're not supposed to stay here. Like, you're supposed to grow and evolve into something more. So for some of you, if you were just feeling agitated with a job or a connection or a partnership or a situation, know that unsettled energy was for a greater purpose. And I think a lot of you, you're at the tail end of this sort of uncomfortable energy, but again, you've won the battle here. Your words are very strong and very powerful right now. It's not coming through as argumentative just for the sake of being difficult. It's coming through with kind of needing to make some sort of final decision of like, hey, I don't want to keep doing this anymore. Like, in some ways, this stir of energy, this chaos, this agitation, it's preparing you for the next chapter. And I just keep getting, like the universe is almost speaking through me, being like, I had to make you uncomfortable or you never would have moved. It's like I had to make that job, that position, that whatever, uncomfortable, where you couldn't really bear it anymore because you're meant for such better things, and I don't think I could have gotten you to see it otherwise. Same goes for romantic relationships. It's like, it started off great, but then the longer I was in it, the more stressful it was. Like, all we did was fight, and we didn't want to share this, or we had differing opinions on that, and it became sort of what defined our relationship was the argument versus like the peace and the harmony. For a lot of you, again, there's an amicable ending here. Even if it's not amicable now, some of you may be in an energy where you are fighting or quarreling or feeling agitated by people. Know that it's for a higher purpose, so go into it knowing it's okay that I'm agitated. It's what I do with it that's going to make a world of difference. Anger can be a very important motivator, And for some of you, it's like you're fighting for a just cause here with Libra energy. Something that you can't stand for anymore, you might be speaking up or speaking out against something and being like, hey, like, this isn't good and we need to make it better. So you might be using it as a source of like motivation and empowerment to inspire others, So wounded warrior energy with the Nine of Wands. Yeah, I think this is saying for a lot of you, you're at the end of a cycle where you may have felt underappreciated, or I don't want to say used and abused. That's kind of like, a catchy phrase sometimes that we throw around when certain tarot cards come up. But yeah, with the wounded warrior, like he's got a bandage on his head and it's like, how much longer are we going to take this? Again, for some of you, I'm wanting to say anger or agitation is a very powerful motivator. But rather than making other people suffer the way you may have suffered, this is taking your anger and like channeling it into like a higher form of energy to make a difference. Or again, get behind a cause, fight for rights, fight for freedom. There might be something very political about this, or something that's going on in the world that it's like a hot button issue and you have very strong feelings about it. Again, you're not coming in with sort of this triggered emotion that's driving the bus. It's coming from a place of sense and logic and clarity and being very well informed. Like you've done the research, you have the data, you have the statistics to back up whatever it is that you're presenting or saying to this people, this person, whatever. Yeah, something about Chiron, like wounded warrior vibes. You might be fighting for people. Maybe this has to do with your career or activism. That feels like this too. But maybe it's just you. Maybe coming from a place where you don't feel heard, you don't feel seen, and again, stepping up to the plate and being like, you know what? I'm taking accountability for myself and my life, and I deserve better. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Again, amicable endings is what's coming through here. Amicable endings. Tell me about this Nine of Pentacles, please. Yeah, this is honoring yourself. The Chariot is a card of victory energy, strong Cancerian energy. So maybe creating better space or distance between family members. Again, some of you are leaving quote unquote home, your neighborhood, your territory, your branch, your area. You might be venturing out into new spaces. Some of you might be doing some traveling. Some of you, it's like through traveling, you see how some people in the world are living, and it's very jarring to you. It starts to make you realize all the good things that you've had and maybe take it for granted. And for a lot of you, it's like you're maybe starting to get behind a cause or donate to a charity or stand up for something that's become very important to you. And again, guys, like this doesn't have to be life-changing, right? Maybe you're raising money for, I don't know, fill in the blank. Like it doesn't have to be like revolutionary global change. I would argue it could be, but for a lot of you, it's like getting behind a cause because it really resonates with you. It's because either you've been in a similar position in your life, or you've witnessed it firsthand how those people live or this or that. And so it's like there's this fighter mentality, but it's very well composed. I just really like it. The Chariot is about travel. There is a strong connection to home and land and our roots and our past and our ancestry. But with the Nine of Pentacles, it's not having to define yourself through what you grew up in. It's recreating your life and stepping into the world as an individual and not necessarily as a part of a certain pack or tribe. If you have a quote unquote work family, again, there might be an amicable divorce from your work family. Like, I'm off to pursue bigger and better things. Like, I appreciate the stepping stone of where this got me, but this isn't who I am anymore. Like, I've outgrown this role. I like that. All right. Thanks, Capricorn. What's up, Aquarius? Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Let's get some tarot cards for them. Who or what is coming in for them in the next couple weeks? What's going on in Aquarius's life? Let's see. Aquarius. All right. So this to me is always a card of your spirit guides are wanting to get in touch with you. So whatever you believe in as a higher power, God, source, spirit, universe, angels, they're whispering in your ear. They're communicating to you through dreams, through repetition, what do you call it? Synchronicities. You're seeing the same signs, symbols, angel numbers. So pay attention. Yeah, pay attention. There's something here that the universe is trying to warn you about. And just to be very clear, right out the gate, I do not do fear-based readings. That's not what this is about. I need you to understand that and comprehend that. If you're struggling with that, this isn't the video for you. This is ultimately saying, though, that something has been coming to an end or closing out in your life, and there might be a refusal or a denial to recognize that it's no longer what it used to be. That being said, like your angel gang would, again, higher power, whatever you believe in, they're rooting for you. It's like they're your coach on the sidelines being like, go get them, Tiger. They're trying to let you understand or have you know that like just because something is phasing out or eclipsing or closing out, it doesn't mean that it's meant to be this huge disappointment and loss in your life. If you zoom out, the greater perspective of this is that you're actually meant to do something else. I'm almost hearing like more service oriented, like we need you elsewhere. There's sort of like this, like we're I said something similar to maybe Capricorn, I don't remember. It's like we're purposely trying to make you uncomfortable so that you understand that you're not meant to stay here forever. This isn't your home forever. And so this agitation, or I don't even think it's agitation for you, it's complacency or a little bit of moodiness or numbness. Like I'm not feeling alive anymore. This feels very like, just like, what am I doing? My lack of direction, my feelings of just being like stifled and not having sort of the space and time and energy and freedom that I want. The universe is like, yeah, we're doing that on purpose because we need you elsewhere. Like we're trying to get you to grow and expand and become the best version of yourself. And don't get me wrong, like in some ways you're perfect as you are, but with that, there's always this idea of, but we're always meant to grow and evolve, right? So like love yourself, embrace yourself for who you are, right? I'm not saying like, oh, you know, like we need to do a rehaul and makeover for Aquarius. No, it's not about that, but it's about growing into the person that you're meant to become. And so there is like a heavy-hearted energy here. It's like information has come to the surface that we can't ignore it anymore because it's undeniable. It's changed you as a person. And I think for some of you, it's like you're holding on to dear life for something, for an energy, for a relationship, for a job, for a person where it's kind of tapered off. It doesn't have the same zest and enthusiasm it used to have. It doesn't light your fire. Like quite literally, it's like blackened. It's become a weight or it's become a burden. Or if this is about letting go of a person who has exited your life, again, it's not about they were good, they were bad, you know, evil, this, that, they broke my heart. This is just saying, hey, that relationship served a purpose, but it's no longer in your life for a very important purpose, and that's because of this Ace of Cups. So the Ace of Cups represents, again, like the hand of God, source, spirit, whatever, a higher power. They're trying to get you to see something. They're trying to get you to take a sip from something that could actually be quite nourishing, but you're so stuck on the past or you're so hell-bent on what used to be and coming to terms with that idea of maybe I need to release it, maybe letting go or refusing or denying that it isn't what it used to be. Maybe that's doing more damage than good. Maybe this is a lifestyle change. Maybe this is holding on to an addiction or an unhealthy behavior or a toxic person, an unhealthy job where there's maybe an abuse of power. Or do you understand what I mean? There's something that is phasing out and the universe is like, I'm hearing like, look closer, look closer. It's not to say it didn't serve a purpose. At what point in time, whatever this energy or thing was, you may have loved it. But there's a need to be honest with yourself of like, but what form is it showing up in now? Because something about that has changed. And again, I'll be honest, like I don't do fear-based readings. And I genuinely mean that. I don't think it's my duty, my responsibility to relay messages that are going to incite fear. So that being said, for those of you who have already, I'm not predicting this, who have already lost someone in your life in a more spiritual sense, your angel guides, that's where they live now. It's like they serve their time on earth. They serve their time in that human body. And a lot of you, it's like you went through a huge stage of grief, releasing that person, grieving the loss of that person. But where are you not living your life because you're still holding on to the energy and the spirit of someone who used to be around you? And it's like, they're still around you. They're just in a different form. And I almost see this as like a, hey, don't stop living your life just because I'm not here anymore. Like, guys, like I'm getting kind of emotional reading this. I got to be honest. That feels very symbolic and important for a lot of you. And like, maybe it was grandpa or grandma. Maybe it was mom or dad. Maybe it was a sibling. Maybe it was an ex. Maybe it was a spouse. Maybe someone was going through a bout of illness, whatever it was. For some of you, maybe it was your dog, right? Pets become our family. Some of you, it's like you're so lost in the grief that you're forgetting to live your own life. And I think some of you just need like a gentle nudge or a reminder that this person is always with you. You can always choose to communicate with them, but it's on a different level. It's in a more spiritual level. And again, I know that message is heavy, so I certainly hope that's not triggering anyone. That's not my goal. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But I do think there's a necessary reminder to just be like, don't stop living your life because of me, because whoever or whatever this person is, whether they've passed, whether they're still alive, whatever, they want you to be happy. do you? Like, do you still want to be happy, or are you going to let this grief sort of, overtake your life to the point where you're just sitting under a tree not living anymore, There's a heaviness to that message. There is a need to come to terms with what has happened and choose to pick up the pieces in a healthy way and continue to press on and move forward. And, grieving isn't a linear process. Grieving doesn't necessarily have an end date. You can constantly have bouts of that grief and the memories and the reminders, but I would even argue some of those memories, they're very happy. It doesn't have to be laced with this heaviness, right? Happy tears are totally acceptable and perfectly good. So I'm not saying don't grieve or mourn the loss of something. I mean, you already have. You can continue to do that, but you also need to remember to seek out avenues of joy and fun and fulfillment. Because, it's like you have a bigger mission here. This feels like very much a spiritual calling. Maybe it has to do with having lost something very important to you. Maybe it has to do with, giving funds or support or money or charity to, cancer foundations. Or do you understand what I mean? It's like doing something good with something that you had a very close connection with at one point in time and undeniably impacted you and who you are as a person. There's something about like a trailblazer energy. Even with this King of Wands, it's like rising to the occasion to do something very important. And you seem to be on the cusp or on the brink of having some sort of very important insight or stroke of genius, or sort of toying with the idea of wanting to move forward with something. And it is going to require a lot of energy and action and power. And I think some of you are denying, like, no, I'm just not ready. I'm just not ready. But I almost think that like waiting for the time to be ready is sort of a waste of time in itself. It's like sometimes doing the thing and taking the first step actually is what motivates you more. Finding that initial motivation to move forward with something seems to be challenging you right now. And again, you're accountable and responsible for all your actions and decisions, but there's something here about just do it. Take the first step. Take the leap of faith. Fool energy, which isn't showing up here, but for me, that's a very strong Aquarian card. This is about taking a leap of faith where your intuition is calling you to do something more or something greater or go in a different direction. And that's typically not a problem for Aquarians, right? I think sometimes you guys thrive in taking the road less traveled or doing something unique or different for you. And I think it's like, no time like the present. And there's an energy that is guiding you and watching over you and supporting you in this endeavor. I think some of you are still getting comfortable with the idea of moving forward. You have 2 7s, which is all about kind of like assessment mode. But honestly, I think with the 7 of Swords, there's something to be said for like holding yourself accountable. Like you say you're going to do something, so do it. Make sure, even if you just do a little piece of it, you don't need to be overwhelmed. You don't need to build Rome in a day, but just start. I think starting is the hardest part for a lot of you. But I actually think this is something you would find great pleasure in and enjoy. And I also think a very Aquarian message here, you would find your people. I think you're going to connect with similar souls, people who have been through something similar or been changed or transformed by a similar energy or gone through a similar circumstance, scenario, been impacted in similar ways. This is such an Aquarian message. It's like standing up to do the thing, and it's almost like you're a magnet for people who need you. It feels very spiritual. It feels like a higher calling. And I mean, maybe this is just something you're going to do for hobby. Again, maybe you're, making bracelets to raise awareness for, a cause somewhere overseas or whatever. But through that, there's this nice little community of people who are very connected and share very intimate stories with one another and feel safe being vulnerable and talking about some troubling things. But with that, it's very cathartic. There's like almost bonding through shared experience. For some of you, it may even have to do with trauma, but this feels very important. So do it. Take the first step. I know it's scary, but I think it will be well worth it. All right. Thanks, Aquarius. All right, Pisces gang, what's up? Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. What is coming in for you this week? What does the tarot want to tell you? I just heard, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Is that from Nemo, I think? Very appropriate for the Pisces, just keep swimming. Yeah, you're happily ever after. There it is. This is happy, I just heard happy life, happy wife. Or happy wife, happy life. Whatever, I think is the verse. I'm kind of kidding. I'm also kind of getting like somewhere over the rainbow vibes. Like, There's something about immersing yourself in fantasy and the possibility of what if, which is very interesting because I think Pisces are very strongly connected to the idea of fantasy and sometimes illusion and make-believe. But here it's almost coming through as something very positive. It's like remembering that the world is full of possibility, and that for some of you, I'm hearing like there is someone out there for you. There's a lot of people out there for you. So if you are coming from a place of feeling a little bit isolated or stuck, something about, I'm hearing like welcome to the gang, welcome to the team. You know, maybe you're getting a new job, maybe you're joining some sort of club or team, or being embraced by friends and family. It feels like a welcome home. For some of you that might resonate. Maybe you've been traveling, maybe you've been overseas, maybe you've been away at school or in the military. There's something about like welcome home, welcome home. Again with the home, the Cancerian energy. Home and family are coming through very strongly. Some of you may be traveling home, traveling back to your childhood roots, visiting old neighbors, people you used to live with, even like college roommates. It doesn't have to be family by blood, friends are the family we choose, but some of you, it's like you're being visited or going to visit someone who there's just like an instant ease around them. There's something very familiar. There's something that it's like you can just be yourself and unwind and let your hair down. And I'm almost getting the idea of you guys sort of communicate psychically. You don't have to say much. This person is also very, very psychic, very sensitive to feelings and energies. And so there's like just a natural rapport and an understanding when you're with them. For some of you, this is actually kind of feeling a little bit more romantic now that I look at it. So some of you, if you're dating or connecting with people, you may end up meeting someone who, whether it's romantic or not, it may kind of be planting the seeds, especially with the Taurus new moon, something about a long-standing friendship or a long-standing relationship, but you're only starting to see like the first evidence of it. And maybe you're blind to it right now, right? I mean, with the new moon, it's kind of like symbolically, there's darkness there, right? We don't necessarily always anticipate or see what's coming, but energetically, psychically, maybe we're planting seeds to cast a wider net or to meet new people. Or for a lot of you, it's like being embraced by someone or a group of people that it feels very family-like. Now, maybe that word family is a trigger because for some of you, maybe you feel like the outsider in your family. Maybe you didn't have a happy childhood. Maybe. So if that's the case, it's almost like you get a chance to rewrite the script on what a happy family looks like. And you might be just meeting people who are, I'm hearing akin. I don't know why that word's coming through, but that you vibe. There's like a community. There's something about bounty. It's like there's a lot of love. There's a lot of abundance there. For some of you, it might be with quite literally the zodiac sign Cancer. It's funny. I said happy wife, happy life, but it goes in reverse, right? It's like make your wife happy and your life is happy, right? I'm not necessarily like saying that that's an important phrase. It's just it's coming through, and you do kind of have the wifey card, Queen of Pentacles. So again, the idea of like settling down with someone, fostering or nurturing roots, establishing something for the long term with dedication and patience and daily practice and loyalty. It's almost like there's a seed of something here that we both recognize. It's very intriguing. It's very exciting, but not in a way that causes like nervous energy or butterflies. It's just so easy. There's something very simple and you're at ease with it. There's something very peaceful about this process. So nurturing it and being dedicated and loyal to it isn't all that difficult, but it's like you're viewing something through the lens of like a forever home or a forever family or someone that you want to be a mainstay in your life for many, many years to come. Strong earth energy there too. This might involve a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. It doesn't have to, but look at that. The 10 of Cups with the Sun. This person makes you feel seen if before you always felt lost in the crowd. If you always kind of were the wallflower, hoping that someone, I'm always getting like walked over to you at the, junior high school dance and be like, do you want to dance? It's like all your life you've kind of been waiting for that invitation to be seen, to be pulled from the group or seen as an individual or something like that. And don't read into that metaphor too much, right? Again, metaphor, symbolism. It's sort of like this person, they're laser focused on you. There's something about you that makes them happy that they find intriguing or inspiring. Now, I'm not saying this couldn't involve a group of people or a new work family or a new social circle, a new group of friends, but you don't feel like, I know there is something about you take the light. I don't know if eventually you're going to lead this group or there's something about you're in a more powerful position among this group of people, or just the idea that like I don't know, feeling very valued, feeling very nurtured, feeling tended to. Because this person probably has water in their chart like you do, a lot of water, and again, compassion, sympathy, empathy, sensitivity, that sort of thing. I think for a long time, maybe you weren't meeting people who could kind of vibe and speak that language with you, but something about this connection, you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel recognized. You don't feel like the outsider or the weirdo, or that you have to over explain yourself, or that I don't know, feeling like guilt or shame. It's like, no, no, no. With the sun, it's like we can express ourselves authentically, and it's playful, it's fun, it's silly, it feels, there's warmth, right? With the sun, I think you feel very nurtured and there's just a sense of warmth about being with this person, or in this new space, in this new community. Some of you, it's just a simple message of like, you're moving to a new town and you have really cool neighbors. Like, it's going to be like that fantasy on TV where neighbors are like hanging out in each other's apartments and playing board games. It's like, does anybody ever do that anymore? You seem to be in a place where it's like, people are like, hey, want to hang out tonight? And you're like, yes, I do. So if you're a Pisces who's like very hermit mode, isolated, I don't want to be with people, I don't think this is your message. But no, this feels like you're coming from a place of yearning to find your people, and you do. Or your person, right? But even so, it's like it grows bigger. It may start off as just, your husband, your wife, or your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And then it's like you get introduced to their friends, and their friends are really cool. And then you meet their family, and their family's really cool. And like, their mother loves you, and like that kind of thing. Like there's a lot of excitement here, and there could actually be a very strong like sexual compatibility with this person. It's like they light your fire. But again, I think this is also like a torch. It's like something about the light or the lighthouse. It's like you guys are drawn together. There's like a sense of peace and safety to be with this person. Yeah, energy and enthusiasm. Pisces, can we just like appreciate the cards coming through here? Like, these are epic. These are wonderful cards. There's solidarity, there's safety, there's comfort, there's luxury, there's good food, there's enough money, you're not, you're not stretched too thin. There's also a sense of travel and adventure, but there's also like a cozy home and a network of people. You guys aren't just like isolating yourself in a relationship. It's like you're meeting each other's friends, you're meeting each other's families. You guys are creative. You can do art together. You can go to the museums together. You can be athletic and active. You can go to the gym. You can swim in the pool. You can ride bikes. Whatever it is, there's such a sense of fun and playful adventure here, but coming home to the person who, well, I would say honestly feels like home, whether, it's more of a feeling than it is like the actual space. But if this is romantic, awesome. If this has to do with a new job or any sort of relationship or friendship, this feels beautiful. So put yourself out there, be open to meeting new people, because there's something about like magnetic attraction coming through here. All right, Pisces, thanks so much.